अस्सलाम, कैसे हैं आप? खैरियत से?
जी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
तो यहाँ से इंशाल्लाह व इस क़ालत अल मलाइकती।
जी अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। वइज़ क़ालतिल मलाइकतु या मरियम इन्नल्लाहा अस्तफ़ाकि वतह्हरकि वस्तफ़ाकि अला निसाइल आलमीन। या मरियम उक़्नुती लिरब्बिकि वस्जुदी वरकई मअर राकिईन। ذلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيه إليك وما كنت لديهم إذ يلقون أقلامهم أيهم ذلك من أنباء الغيب وإذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله اصطفاك وطهرك واصطفاك على نساء العالمين. يا مريم اقنتي لربك واسجدي واركعي مع الراكعين. ذلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيه إليك وما كنت لديهم إذ يلقون أقلامهم أيهم يكفل مريم وما كنت لديهم إذ يختصمون. إذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله يبشرك بكلمة منه اسمه المسيح عيسى بن مريم وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة ومن المقربين ويكلم الناس في المهد وكهلا ومن الصالحين. قالت رب أنى يكون لي ولد ولم يمسسني بشر قال كذلك الله يخلق ما يشاء إذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون. ويعلمه الكتاب والحكمة والتوراة والإنجيل ورسولا إلى بني إسرائيل أني قد جئتكم بآية من ربكم أني أخلق لكم من الطين كهيئة الطير فأنفخ فيه فيكون طيرا بإذن الله. وأبرئ الأكمه والأبرص وأحيي الموتى بإذن الله وأنبئكم بما تأكلون وما تدخرون في بيوتكم وأنبئكم بما تأكلون وما تدخرون في بيوتكم إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. ومصدقا لما بين يدي من التوراة ولأحل لكم بعض الذي حرم عليكم وجئتكم بآيات من ربكم فاتقوا الله وأطيعون. إن الله ربي وربكم فاعبدوه هذا صراط مستقيم. فلما أحس عيسى منهم الكفر قال من أنصاري إلى الله قال الحواريون نحن أنصار الله آمنا بالله واشهد بأننا مسلمون. ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. ومكروا ومكر الله والله خير الماكرين. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسول النبي.
Jazakallah, Abdul Ghani brother. So inshallah we continue the discussion about the house of Al Imran. Imran was basically the paternal grandfather of Isa alayhi salam. He was the nana of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. That was, his name was Al, and his children were called Ali Imran, the house of Imran. And Imran, the nana of Isa alayhi salam, his wife was Hannah. So that was the nanny of Isa alayhi salam. And what happened that Hannah, when she became expected, Imran passed away. So now she was left alone, because she was like, this is something, a child is something, you always expect that, when he's born, when he grows up. So everything, people imagine that with their spouse, that with my husband, I will raise that child with my husband. But tragic for Hannah that her husband Imran passed away even when the child was born. And Hannah was expecting that the child will be born. She had made a mannat. She had made an intention that when the child is born, I will dedicate it for the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, where there's the Masjid al-Aqsa, before that, in the vicinity was Haikal al-Sulaimani, that was built by Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam, and that was the hub of all the worship for the Bani Israel. The Bani Israel used to worship, and the Prophet at that time, and Hannah's brother-in-law, Hannah had a sister named, there are different names of her sister, but I will accept one name, Alicia. So Alicia was the sister of Hannah, and that was the Khala of Bibi Maryam. And her husband, John the Baptist in English, and Zakaria alayhi salam, Zakaria and Zakaria is the English pronunciation. So he was the Khalu of Bibi Maryam. So whole family was very religious family and very blessed family. So when it was expected, so when Bibi Maryam was born, Hannah, she had already lost her husband, and now Bibi Maryam came. So her second wish that she will dedicate the child to the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she got dampened, because a girl has been born, and girl is not same as boy, a boy is not same as a girl. So she was disappointed. But her brother-in-law, her sister's husband, was also a prophet and one of the very religious and pious men, a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Zakaria alayhi salam. So now this is the one that is mentioned in this ruku, that they started arguing. When Bibi Maryam was born, Hannah wanted to dedicate the child, Bibi Maryam, to the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at that time, there was supposed to be a custodian, a teacher, who will take care of the child and teach them the religion, how to do the ibadat and all that. So all of them, like there were many priests, they said that, okay, we will become the custodian of Maryam, we will become the custodian. So his own Qalu, Zakaria alayhi salam, he came forward and said, I want to be the custodian, because I have right, because he had a right, because that was the Qalu or the uncle of Bibi Maryam. So they started arguing, and that's when, it was decided that they will throw their pen. At that time, the pen was, wooden craft pen. They will dip it in the ink and write it. So they say that, that's how they will decide. And when he threw the pen, Hazrat Zakaria alayhi salam, that pen floated against the flow of the water, and he said that this is a clear sign, and that's when he was the decided, or he was selected as the custodian of Bibi Maryam. So, إِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَاكَ وَطَهِّرَكَ وَأَصْطَفَاكِ عَلَى نِسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ. This is a very beautiful ayat. So in this, وَإِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ, when the angel said to Bibi Maryam, Ya Maryam, O Maryam, Inna Allah astafaki. Istafaki means Allah has selected. Astafa means to select. So Allah has chosen you. Allah has chosen you, and Allah has tahiriki means Allah has purified you. Wa astafaki, and Allah has selected you. Allah on the Nisa means women. Allah al-alamin. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has purified you and Allah has selected you for all the women of the world. So Allah has selected 4 women. They will be the leaders of Jannah in the hereafter. The first one was the Asya, the wife of Pharaoh. She was the one who adopted Musa alayhi salam and gave her life for defending Musa alayhi salam. She is one of the ladies of Jannah. The second lady of Jannah is Bibi Maryam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had selected her as the leaders of and the third one is Hazrat Khadijatul Kubra, the first wife of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and her daughter Bibi Fatima. These are the ladies of Jannah. These will be the leaders of the Jannah, and they have the preference over all the other women. So, Ya Maryam Uqnati. So, O Maryam, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bi Rabbika wasjudi, and prostrate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Warkai, and bow your head in presence ma'ar raki, and do the ruku in presence of other raki. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now, right from the childhood, Bibi Maryam, in a very young age, she was taken to this Hikal Solamani, and there was a chamber, and her custodian, Hazrat Zakaria alayhi salam, what would do that he would lock the chamber or the where the mihrab of Hazrat Bibi Maryam, and will go away and then come back with the food. When he will come back with the food, he will find when he opened the chamber of Bibi Maryam, was already fruits there, that which was out of season fruit, out of the area of fruit. And always Zakaria salam will ask his niece, where did this food come? So Bibi Maryam will say that this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give providence to all to anybody without any hisab. Zalika min anba'il ghaibi wa nuhin ilayk. So what is this? What is this word? Anba means to give the news. So the word Nabi has also come from that. So we have read the Surah Naba. So Naba means the news or anything we do not know. So in Arabic, there are some text meaning of that, and there are some applied meaning of that. So Nabi in religious context is the Nabi who has brought the message or the news from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and guide us to the right information. So that is Nabi. But Naba or Nabi could also mean in a literal sense for anybody who's. So when the delegation of Christians from Najran came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so these were the people, the priests of Christianity, what they would do, that there were some legends they were passing on to them from legend to legend, from oral traditions, some written traditions, and they will keep a close to their chest. They will not divulge it to the general people because they wanted to maintain their priesthood, and for that they will guard it as a close guarded secret, and they will not divulge it to. So they will say, okay, if you are Nabi, let's ask him questions which are typically only the Bani Israel would know. So they came to ask the questions that they thought that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would not have the answer. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Zalika min anba'il ghaibi wa nuhin ilayk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the wahi and told all the things that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not in that time, and it was not, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him through the wahi all the incidents, all the secrets that Bani Israel kept, such as what happened between Bibi Maryam and how she was raised, what the miracles, and some of them, as we will read it in the next ayah, that some of the secrets only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know. These general people do. Zalika min anba'il ghaibi wa nuhin ilayk. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the wahi. وَمَا كُنْتَ لديهم إذ يلقون أقلامهم أيهم يكفل مريم. So you were not there when they were throwing their pens. So what we are referring, that pens they were throwing to that who they were trying to draw something, that who will become the custodian. So you were not there when they were arguing that who will be the وَمَا كُنْتَ لَدَيْهِمْ is يَخْتَصِمُونَ. يَخْتَصِمُونَ means they were quarreling, they were disputing. So you were not there. So this is a message to this delegation that you were not there. You had heard these stories, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the most authentic news that He has given to His beloved Prophet. He is giving them through the wahi, that what really happened there. So they were trying to test Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them إِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ يَا مَرْيَمُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُبَشِّرُكُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ مِّنْهُ. So remember that time, إِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, when the angel said to Bibi Maryam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you a glad tidings. Of what glad tidings? About something, about kalimatin, like so he angel is giving a glad tidings that you will have a son, بِكَلِمَاتٍ مِّنْهُمْ اسمه Masih Isa ibn Maryam. So that person, or your son, that you will get a son, وَجِيهًا فِي الدُّنْيَا, and he will be the honor in. Wajih means a very honorable. So he will be very honorable in this dunya and akhirah, and he will be among the chosen people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ فِي الْمَهْدِ. What is Mahdi? And he will speak to you in the lap of his mother. And وَكَهْلًا, and Kahlan when he will grow up. Kahlan wa min as-salihin. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that through angels that Maryam, you will have a child, and he will be called Masih ibn Maryam, Isa Masih ibn Maryam. Like the son will be named after you, and he will speak when he is in the he is in the lap of the mother, and he will speak when he will grow up. And so Bibi Maryam replied, Hala Rabbi Anna Yakunu, or oh my Lord, how I can have a son? So no man has ever touched me. So the answer is being given, Qala kazalika Allahu yakhluqu ma yasha'u. So Allah can create somebody as He wishes. Iza qada amran fa innama yaqulu lahu kun fayakun. So whatever He wishes to make it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be, and it becomes be. So all these laws, the biological laws in which a husband and wife meets, and they have a conception, and then they have the 9-month pregnancy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond and above that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this system of creation. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not bound by that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just say kun, and somebody can happen. And that's what happened. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel alayhi salam. And Jibreel alayhi salam came to be Maryam. He came in a form of a very handsome person. And when Bibi Maryam saw Jibreel alayhi salam, she did not realize that it's an angel. So she became scared, and she started retreating, and she was cornered to the back. And so she's pleading with Jibreel alayhi salam without realizing he's an angel, that I seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Jibreel, he changed his form and say that I come here to give a glad tidings to you. And she says that how can I have a son, and no man has ever touched me? So this is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent message to Jibreel. Said Allah does what He wants as He wishes, and all He does it. So what he did, Jibreel alayhi salam, he said that Allah is not bound by anything. He just blew something on Bibi Maryam, and she became pregnant with Isa alayhi salam. And she also gave the glad tidings that when your son will be born, right from the lab, like in his infancy. So these are the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. that, when a child is born, when he grows up, slowly he learns to speak small words, mama, papa, and then he grows up. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, giving a glad tidings, he will speak right from the lap of the child. And that was a very tough time for Bibi Maryam. Bibi Maryam left this monastery and goes out into the wilderness, because that was a challenge for Bibi Maryam. So she goes in, and Isa alayhi salam is born, and she's weak because she has given a childbirth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a glad tidings that, he runs a brook right where she gave a birth to Isa alayhi salam. And there was one date palm tree there, and that was not giving any fruit. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as she was in the chamber, in the mihrab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring her fruits. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did the same thing for her, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Bibi Maryam to shake the date palm. And when she did that, that dates fell right at her lap, and she ate it. And when she found the strength, she went back, and everybody's making a lot of talk that, what did you do, Maryam? Maryam was only 16 or 17 years old at that time. She was very, very innocent teenage girl. And then Isa alayhi salam was born, and she was told not to speak, because at that time she was Some Maryam. Some Maryam is the fasting in which you are forbidden to talk to somebody. So she was told not to talk. And when everybody say, what kind of work did you do? Because you are a pious person, your mother is a pious, and your father was a pious person, your whole family is a pious person. But what did you do? You bring a child in your lap. So Bibi Maryam was forbidden to speak. So she pointed toward the son, newly born son, and he spoke right from the lap. And when they saw this miracle, that a newly born child is speaking, so everybody was, convinced. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he will speak when he was in the lap, and when he will speak when he grows up. So the word when he grows up is called kahlan. Kahlan is that age of a man when a man, the literal meaning of kahlan is when a person grows up and he gets some white hair and retains some black hair. Like in English, we call it salt and pepper hair, in which a person's hair are a little bit white and some black. They call it salt and pepper hair. So this is the word, the literal. وَيُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ فِي الْمَهْدِ وَكَهْلًا. That's what the word I was explaining. Kahlan. Kahlan مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. So Bibi Maryam is saying that, قالت, she said, Rabbi anna yakunu li waladam. How can I have a child? Walam yamsisni bashar. No man has ever touched me. Qala kazalika Allahu yakhluqu ma yasha'u. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does what he wants it. Iza qada amran fa inna ma yaqulu lahu kun fayakun. Whenever he wished to do something, he just said be. And wa yu'allimuhu al-kitaba wal hikmata wat tawrata wal injil. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him hikmata, the wisdom, and Tawrat. Tawrat was the book that had been the guidance for the Bani Israel, because Injil is the one that had descended or revealed to Isa alayhi salam, but Musa alayhi salam, Tawrat was revealed, and that's what and wal Injil. Injil is the one that was revealed right to Isa alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Isa alayhi salam Tawrat and Injil. وَرَسُولٌ إِلَى بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ. So, and he was sent as a prophet for Bani Israel. So our Lord, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is Kafatun Nas, like he's Rahmatul Lil Alamin. So he was sent as a prophet to the whole humankind. But that was not the case with previous prophets. Those previous prophets were the prophets at a particular tribe, particular town, particular. So Isa alayhi salam was sent dedicatedly to the Bani Israel. And initially, this Christianity, when it emerged, even before it break out of the yoke of Judaism, it was considered in the initial days only as a sect of Judaism. It was not considered and the followers of Isa alayhi salam initially, they only presented the teachings of Christianity only to the Bani Israel, because he did not so he was a Rasul toward Bani Israel, as Quran Sharif is mentioned, and he's through Quran Sharif, the message is also given to Christianity that Isa alayhi salam was sent as a prophet only to the Bani Israel. Rasulun ila Bani Israel. Anni qad jitukum. Inni means I. Qad jitukum bi ayatin min rabbikum. And I have brought the signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni akhluqu lakum min tini kahiyatin tayr. So Isa alayhi salam, what he would do, that he will make pigeons from the clay, and then he will blow air into it, and they will become the birds and start flying away. And this is from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa ubriul akmah. Wa akmaha. Wa ubri means I cure. Ubri means cure. Akmaha means Allah, with Allah's will. Isa alayhi salam cure the blind people. Wal abrazi. Abrazi means person who are suffering from leprosy or kor. Wa ohyul mauta. So, and I revive the people who have died, biiznillah, with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unabbi'ukum bima ta'kuluna. Unabbi'ukum, as I said, to tell somebody something or reveal something is called unabbi'ukum. And the word nabi has also, has a root in that word. Bima ta'kuluna. And I can tell you what you have eaten at your home. Wama tadakhirun. And what you have stored in the food. So somebody, Isa alayhi salam, he had been given many miracles. And this miracle, now that talking about Bani Christianity, that they knew those miracles, that Isa alayhi salam will cure the blind person, he will cure the lepers. Lepers means a person who's suffering from leprosy. At that time, it was a very dreaded disease. Like if one city, just like we are scared of coronavirus today, at that time people were afraid of leprosy, because leprosy was a disease. It was a very contagious disease, so everybody was afraid of that. And anybody who's inflicted with leprosy, they will outcast them and put them outside the city limit, so nobody can contact them and nobody can get the disease from them. So but Isa alayhi salam was not afraid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a miracle. He will go and he will cure those lepers. So that was the miracle of Isa alayhi salam. And Isa alayhi salam was given another miracle, that he could take the clay pigeons, he will fashion those clay into a pigeon, and then he will blow air and it will fly away. This miracle of the clay pigeons is not mentioned in any of the Bible, except one Bible, which is obsolete for most of the Christians. What happened, that after Isa alayhi salam, Christianity is split into many different factions, many different denominations, and they would all follow different gospels. Gospels was something that they had recorded, the teachings of Isa alayhi salam, and some person named Mark, he will say, okay, this is when I was in the company of Isa alayhi salam, this is what I heard from him, and he wrote a Bible called the Gospel of Mark's, the Gospel of John, Gospel of that. There were about 50 Gospels right after Isa alayhi salam, and one of the Gospel was called the Gospel of Thomas. But later on, when Roman Emperor Constantine, he banned all of them, and he said that only 4 Gospels are accepted: Mark, Luke, John, and there's another one, Mark, June, and Matthew's. So they will be accepted. Anybody who reading any other gospel, he will be put to death. So some people secretly took that Gospel of Thomas and started practicing in Egypt, in ancient Egypt. And later on, that sect died. the people who would follow them. So in that, it was recently discovered through archaeological work in Egypt. And in that, the miracle of the pigeon clay is mentioned. But none of these other Bibles or Gospels, Mark, Luke, Matthews, or, none of them mention that thing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving that, what my prophet was capable of doing and what miracles he had given, and no other sources knew this miracle. They knew the other miracles, like, Isa alayhi salam will cure the lepers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him capacity to revive the dead people, but they did not know this clay pigeon miracle. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also gave him knowledge that somebody would show up to him. Isa alayhi salam could say, oh, before you come here, you ate such and such kind of bread. What he had eaten, what was, he could tell him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him this miracle. And he would also give him miracle, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that what you had stored, that you have 4 barrels of wheat in your home, or you have 4 buckets of flour in your. So Isa alayhi salam had that knowledge that he could tell them. And when he came, he did not bring a new Sharia or new law. He would follow the same law as Musa alayhi salam, because as I said, he was sent exclusively to the Bani Israel. So those prophets in those times, they did not preach the general people. Hazrat Zakaria alayhi salam, his son Yahya alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, they were exclusively toward the Bani Israel. On the other hand, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is Rahmat lil Alameen, and his Kafat al-Nas, like his message is a universal message to the all humanity. That's why Quran, that we have it, is a universal. It is a miracle that still is with us. So he's saying, وَمُصَدِّقًا لَمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ مِنَ التَّوْرَاةِ وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ بَعْضُ الَّذِي حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ. And I will make it halal some things that were haram before. So when Bani Israel, when they indulge in the life of sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a punishment, even some things they were permissible, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them haram. But Isa alayhi salam came, so he, as a mercy, as a prophet, he said that, okay, those things that were made haram on you because of your bad deeds, because of your sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now making you halal. So وَجَئْتُكُمْ بِآيَاتٍ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُونِ. So Isa alayhi salam gave a message to Bani Israel. So I have brought the clear signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So fear God, fear God, and became obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and obey me and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Basically he's saying, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obey me. Inna Allah Rabbi wa Rabbukum. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord of me and Lord of you. So he's your God and he's my God and he's your God. Fa'buduhu. So worship him. So haza sirat al-mustaqim. So this creation that, this idea of Trinity, it is much later. Isa alayhi salam, his message was, he's referring to Allah, he's a Rabbi and Rabbikum. He is my God and your God. So worship him. And this is the right way. So only later on, when, people who are influenced by the theology of, Roman work and Roman mythology, they inspired this thing, especially a person named Paul. When he converted to Christianity, he brought those changes into Christianity. But Isa alayhi salam, like all the prophets, he only prophesied and he only taught people to worship only one God. Falamma hassa Isa minhumul kufru. So falamma, when. Ahassa means he felt, Isa alayhi salam felt, Isa alayhi salam minhumul kufr. When Isa alayhi salam felt that there is some kufr among his followers, so he said, Qala man ansari ilallah. So who will become my companion uh, toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So Khalat al-Hawariyuna Nahnu Ansarullah. So some of his Hawariyin or the companion came, about 12 of the people, and they say, Amanna billahi wa ashhadu bi anna muslimun. And we are the one, the 12 people came out and they said that, we want to be your helper. And because Isa alayhi salam could sense that some of the people are not sincere toward him. So they came forward and they said that, we witnesses that, we are the one who Muslim. Rabbana amanna. So they say, Rabbana amanna bima anzalta wattaba'na rasula faktubna ma'a shahidin. And they came and said that, we are the one, we believe in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed, and we will follow you, follow the Prophet, and so write our name among the one who have given witness. And makaru wa makarullah wallahu khairul makirin. So what happened? Out of the 12 people who came forward and they testified that, we will be with you, but one of them betrayed him, and his name was Yehuda. So Yehuda actually, he said that, okay, I'm with you, and testified that, he took the oath of allegiance to Isa alayhi salam, but he betrayed Isa alayhi salam and thought that, he with the other Jewish people, at that time Rome had taken influence over the Jerusalem. So they will take over, and they conspired against Isa alayhi salam. So Yehuda, who had betrayed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his collaborators, what they did when they betrayed Isa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Makaru wa makarallah, Allahu khairul makirin. Those people were plotting, and Allah was plotting, and Allah is best of the plotters. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying what he did, those people who conspired to put Isa alayhi salam on the cross, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed one of their faces into the face of Isa alayhi salam. And when the Romans came to crucify Isa alayhi salam, one of the person who betrayed Isa alayhi salam, he went to the cross, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, summoned Isa alayhi salam at the heaven, and he summoned it, and he will return Isa alayhi salam before the end of the time. So that's what the brief mention of that. So any questions, inshallah, I will welcome that, or anybody wants to comment on that. Anybody has any questions?